This is Alfred the Great, the year 867 AD. We're going to see if he and his descendants can form the Empire of Britannia. No, not this Empire of Britannia, this Empire of Britannia. Well, at least the parts that fit onto the CK3 map. Now you might be thinking this is a strange video for a Scotsman to make, but from YouTubers to the royals, a lot of people seem to have an innate fascination with all things British. So take my kilt and get ready to embark on a journey of empire building in Crusader Kings 3. We start our campaign in the south of England, not as Alfred, but his brother, Ethelred the Unready. And yeah, taking a look at these stats, he is definitely unready. Especially given hordes of angry Vikings led by Ragnar Lothbrok's sons are invading from the north. First thing we gotta do is put ourselves out of our misery. Now there's a couple of ways to do this. We could send him in a tiny army against the Vikings and hope that he's slain, but there's a much more efficient way to do this, and that's making use of the just trait that he has. So what we're gonna do is start a whole bunch of seduce schemes. Doesn't matter against who, cancel them and do them again, and every time we do that we're gonna get a whole bunch of stress. We do this until we reach a level 3 mental break. Unfortunately, it didn't give us the option to abdicate, so we're going to have to take matters into our own hands. We take the unfortunate decision, and after a successful attempt, we can now play as glorious King Alfred the Great, with godly stats that should help drive back the Viking invaders. Our first decision as ruler is to get rid of our wife with trash genetics. We're going to upgrade to this model which has the genius trait, so that we can create offspring worthy of ruling an empire. We send our armies north to help defend East Anglia, defeating one of the Viking armies, but then we head north again, and have to retreat swiftly because we're vastly outnumbered. We do however manage to beat one of Ivar's armies at Dover. To improve our future military might, we're going to need to have access to exceptional knights, so I'm doing some tactical marriages with my courtiers to breed in the Herculean traits. These boost up a character's prowess, which is key in determining a knight's fighting ability. We're forbidding all these trash ones that probably couldn't hit a Viking if they were attacking him in his sleep. We're unfortunately hemorrhaging a whole bunch of gold because we're so far over the holding limit, so I decide it's prudent to grant some of our excess land to vassals. We might be able to revoke it again later on. We managed to win our war against Ivar the Boneless, but unfortunately we lost against Halfdan. However, we're going to take this opportunity to regroup, expand our land, and go on the offensive. Our first target is the Duchy of Cornwall, which falls very easily. No surprise there. Their meagre force wiped out in the Battle of Winchester. Wife's trying to get me to get rid of my favourite councillors. What a total brilliant. We've now been given the epithet the Great. Next to fall is the Petty Kingdom of Mercia. I'm going for the strategist perks to make the wars a little bit easier, and I've taken authority focus so that our new lands have their control increased a lot faster, thus increasing our monthly income. We just need 4 more provinces now to form the Kingdom of England. Although we're going to be playing mostly wide, we do need to ensure we have some good provinces, because playing wide isn't actually that strong. So when I do have the money, I am planning on investing in some of the basic economic buildings in London, where we get the most bang for our buck. I'm highly regretting doing that developed capital decision now, stress spiralling a little bit out of control. We continue our conquest of England by taking East Anglia, who stand no match for our military might. Pope's not too happy that we're fighting fellow Christians, so we're going to go and schmooze him a little bit. Then we can demand a crap ton of gold to continue fighting these wars. With the Petty Kingdom of East Anglia firmly within our realm, we are now able to declare ourselves as the King of England. With our newfound renown, we're going to adopt the very historical strategy of selective breeding and ensure our precocious son Alfred Alfredson is matched with a suitable counterpart. Nobody good available now, so we'll have to return to this later. Our newfound position comes with new responsibilities. To ensure a successful hunt, we must employ copious amounts of lackeys and servants. Finally, we can live a stress-free life. It's now time to take the fight back to the Vikings, so we declare war on Jarl Sigfrid. With a lot more points in the martial trees and better knights, we're able to defeat them decisively, taking land in the north of England. We continue to develop the economy in London. A claimant for Sudreyar arrives at our court, and we're happy to oblige their request for war. We finally find someone worthy of our son, hoping to get the beautiful trait melded into our bloodline. We enact our vengeance on Ivar's men, defeating them at the Battle of Alclud and seizing their lands by installing our claimant as our new vassal over the Petty Kingdom of the Isles. We try to unite the remainder of the realm peacefully, tribal vassals not wishing to accept, but feudal ones will, accepting a decent contract with a little bit of encouragement. Given we're getting old, we might as well develop the capital again. If stress kills us, at least we've managed to achieve that. We can always reduce it a bit by pitting our new kitten Beowulf. We take the remaining English provinces from Northumbria, as well as in lowland Scotland from the remaining Viking host. We then turn our attention to Wales. Their soldiers don't put up much of a fight, because they've been too busy, and then we need to deal with those pesky Scots, at the same time as fighting off another Viking invasion that we're perfectly capable of now. Rebellious Scots to crush, God save the King. Sadly, our son has passed away, leaving our heir as our rotten grandson. Thankfully, I'd already planned for this, and preemptively put him in the prison, where he shall live out his short and final days. Our immoral but necessary acts have corrupted our mind. We look to the continuance of our dynasty, setting up a betrothal for our heir, hoping to bring in the final powerful congenital trait. With our excess prestige, we use it to make sure that we've got Saxon electives, letting us decide who inherits our duchies, before our soul is cast to hell. With uncertain times ahead. With a pivot towards stewardship and the completion of more buildings in London, we're now generating a respectable amount of gold per month. We have been prudent and have not invested any more gold into men-at-arms, using just the ones that we started the campaign with so far. Given we're close to forming the Empire of Britannia, we're going to name our children something a bit more apt. We welcome our twins, Hugo and Rupert. Oh Rupert, get that silver spoon out of your arm. And now we turn towards the Irish front. Since this is pre-Renaissance, not one single potato could be found. Another set of twins, she really is pumping them out. And another one. Oh, come hither, Christabel. With the majority of Ireland and Scotland within our domain, and a heap of gold given to us by the Pope, which we're capitalising on because of our virtuous traits, we're now able to form the glorious Empire of Britannia. With the economy of London booming, and with most of the British Isles under our command, as well as resilient bloodline now unlocked, it is now time to turn our attention overseas. Our first target, Gibraltar, because it's the only British Imperial province that's within diplomatic range. When we do take it though, we will get this sweet bonus from the Rock of Gibraltar. Now the big problem with attacking this guy is he has a crap load of kids. He'll be marrying some of them off to get more allies, so we need to be exceptionally well prepared. We make an alliance with the nearby Duchy of Barcelona, and we make sure we've maxed out all our men-at-arms units, taking a composition that will counter a wide spectrum of enemies that we'll face. We set sail for Gibraltar, and our landing force defeats the army that awaits us. When reinforcements arrive, we defeat them too, taking a valuable hostage, letting us negotiate a victory. We then bounce onto the second stepping stone that is Malta, quickly taking it. This now opens us up to many new frontiers, so we invest in military buildings to prepare our forces for further invasions. A second Alfred ascends to the throne, a fine gentleman with suitable traits to lead the charge. We now start going down the warfare route, unlocking House of Warriors to help boost our knight effectiveness, because it's now fairly easy to keep the traits within the family. We're going for a couple of easy provinces to get a foothold in Egypt. Our onagers making short work of their terrible fort level, our armies piercing into the heart of Abbasid territory, wrapping up the war within a couple of years. I quite like the idea of getting some stronger units, so we're going to do a Lawrence of Arabia and assimilate with the local culture. With the huge amount of piety we've been amassing, we're going to use our holy war for kingdom on the very vast kingdom of Egypt. Winning battle after battle and siege after siege with our superior military forces, we mark out our first large piece of overseas territory. We dish out most of the newly conquered provinces to vassals, aside from the Nile Delta ones which we keep for ourselves. This is because these have camelries, which we're going to use to boost up our number of knights and knight effectiveness to insane levels. When we hybridize, we're also going to take agrarian, because these provinces are floodplains, and the ones we've kept back in England are farmlands. This will give us superb economic bonuses. We capitalise on a fractured Byzantine Empire, taking Cyprus. We're now ready to hybridize, so we spend prestige to make a new, much more cosmopolitan British imperial culture. We dispatch an army to the Gulf states, giving us diplo range on India. We send our armies south, taking the regions in Sudan. We then begin to take the provinces that form Palestine and modern-day Iraq, moving towards capturing the region of Baghdad. We're now firmly out of the territory where cultural jokes are allowed. Although the region around London is coming on really well, I decided that it would be much more beneficial to move the new seat of the British Empire to Baghdad. It has a much greater growth trajectory from its unique buildings and terrain. With our huge amounts of renown, we finish off the warfare tree, and we make sure to train our heirs in the ways of war. Our territory is shaping up very nicely, and many artifacts plundered for the British Museum. Up at 21 knights now, and knight effectiveness base at 162%. that's without the martial trait that gives us a bonus. We bestow honours to our valiant soldiers for helping us seize vast quantities of land in northern India. We've taken the by the sword cultural tradition so that we can wage multiple holy wars for large kingdoms per lifetime, as long as we have the piety. Once that's done, we put only the strong in our final slot, boosting our knight effectiveness by 100% to ungodly levels, and giving us an additional 2 knights. With this intrigue-based driller, we end up doing a bit of historical roleplay. We muster our forces and send them south, crushing any Indian resistance. A bit of a challenge at time because the fort levels in some of these provinces are ridiculously high, but ultimately they're no match for our soldiers. Securing the subcontinent takes a huge amount of time, but ultimately we're able to do it little by little. Our ridiculously powerful armed forces destroying everything that stands in our way, getting our cavalries up now to level 6. Rebel factions beginning to crop up, requesting freedom. We're not giving them any of that. We're going to try firstly bribing their ringleaders, and if that doesn't work, we're just going to have to crush them. Prestige and renown output pretty high. Gold's gone a bit lower because we have probably over-invested a bit in our armies, but I do love just getting those stack wipes in. Border's now looking a lot more sexy. We've established a colony in Nigeria from which we'll expand into the West African imperial provinces, crushing any hostile resistance. It's just a matter of patience now as we wage war after war, carving out those bits of territory, making sure it conforms roughly to the map that we looked at the start. Getting very close now, just need to launch a little cleanup operation to get some of those provinces that fell out of our control. So there we have it, we have the British Isles, Gibraltar, the Gambia, Sierra Leone, the Gold Coast, Nigeria, British Somaliland, Sudan and Egypt, Palestine, Iraq, the Gulf States, and let's not forget about India and the Bengal, as well as the honourable mentions of Malta, the Ionian Islands and Cyprus. So there we have it, a fine game of Europa Universalis 4 in Crusader Kings 3. If you enjoyed this playthrough then please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next one.